Hi, this is Clinton Dsouza and I'm back with another edition of Sports Encounter only on Goa 365. Today I'm at the event, 3 days event, that's 75 knots Regatta 2019, where we will see different kinds of sailors across the world sailing in the Goan oceans over here, sailing to the winds of Goa, and we'll also be interacting with them and say what they have to say on this upcoming event, and also how exciting is their journey when it comes to sailing. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now I have Dane with me. So Dane, how exciting it is for you to surf in the sea over there?
Sailing over here is always my favorite because this is where I train, so it's really easy for me because I know how the conditions are. So I have a lot of fun sailing here.
At what age you began sailing, kind of?
The first time I stood on the board was at the age of 7, around 7. So I've been sailing since then. But professionally, I started I think at around 10 or 12 years old.
Now, in this kind of event, how many races you have already completed, and you are going to complete? If you could brief us more about it.
Sure. So we've completed 6 races already in the past 2 days, and we've got 6 more for today and tomorrow. So a total of 12 races, and the best person on average is going to be the winner.
During sailing, what are the toughest moments that you encounter in the sea out there, in the rough sea over there?
Right. So the thing with sailing is you can get any conditions at any time. So you really need to be on the RSX. It's a lot to do with the fitness part of it, and also having to read to strategize and to see which part of the course is favorable or where you need to go. So it's kind of hard balancing the two. So that's the most challenging thing about it.
What is your secret motivation that motivates you to go out in the sea over there?
It's just the only reason that I go out is because I love this sport. Like, this is what I love doing. There's nothing else I would rather do than this, and that's why I do so well.
For such kind of sports, fitness is very essential because you need to fight with the wind, you need to fight with the waves, plus you have to handle that boat. So how important is it with regards to fitness and dedication toward this kind of sports?
You can get off without being fit, you can finish maybe in the middle of the fleet in the national level without having to be really fit. But if you go to an international event, and this being an Olympic class, if you are not very fit, you're not even going to finish the races. It's that difficult. So fitness is like one of the top priorities when it comes to sailing on the RSX.
Okay. When it comes to such kind of sports, there are lots of people who don't even know about such kind of sport. They think it happens only in the international countries or some other countries or other kind of territories or different other UN nations. Yeah. But how is it important, or how do you feel would you promote this sport in India especially and in Goa?
In 2018, that was last year, my sister and I were the only 2 Goans at the Asian Games. Yeah. I don't think I need to say anything else, right?
So what is your message for more students or more kind of people to participate in this kind of sport and take this as sport so seriously?
Just come and try it out. Just come, learn how to sail. Because if you speak to any seasoned sailor or any person who's just started, they will all tell you that there's no feeling like planing on a windsurfer. It's something else. So just come and try it out. And we've got the boards, we've got all the resources. Come on, like, we're in Goa, there's a beach on every corner, so there's no excuse not to go sailing. And look at the conditions. It's like just perfect. And here in Hawaii, there's no waves, there's no shore break, making it very easy to launch and recover. So very, very easy to start learning how to sail here.
Thank you so much and wish you all the very best. Thank you. Now I have with me the 470 class nation's best sailors with me, and I have Ayash with me. So Ayash, how did you all manage into getting into sailing? Because I know that you guys are from the army. So what motivated you all to come into sailing?
It's like it is the army's priority to get the Olympic medal. So the army started different specific sports centers all over India. So one of them was sailing, because it was highly dominated by the others. So army decided to dominate in this particular sports also.
Okay. And from which year or when did you all start your journey into sailing?
We started in 2002 in the army, and then we won the first gold medal at the national games, which was held in Visakhapatnam at that point of time. So that was our beginning moment, where we army got the maximum medal at the national games.
Okay, I asked if you can introduce your team to Goa 365 and our viewers over here.
Yeah, he's my teammate Upkar Singh.
Hello, sir.
Next to him is SC Singha. He's the second team right now, and PP Muthu is the second skipper.
So, sir, tell me, now he has already told me his journey. So, tell me your journey. आपका journey कैसा था इसमें?
मेरा जर्नी अभी तक अच्छा रहा। प्रैक्टिस के दौरान यहाँ पे इवेंट में भी काफ़ी अच्छा चल रहा है, तो आने वाले टाइम में भी आपके बहुत अच्छा करेंगे।
इस इवेंट में आपको क्या सबसे ज़्यादा क्या पसंद है?
पसंद तो सब कुछ ही है। जैसे हम लोग कभी भी कंपटीशन में जाते हैं तो वहाँ तो कुछ ना कुछ हमें लर्निंग के लिए मिलता है, तो ऑल टाइम लर्न, उसके बाद में सीखने को मिल रहा है, तो आगे और भी मेहनत करके आगे जा सकते हैं हम।
अभी ये बीच पे ऐसा बड़ा वेव्स नहीं आता है, सो आपको क्या लगता है ऐसा बीच के लिए सेलिंग के लिए एडवांटेज है और क्या है?
एडवांटेज तो होता ही है सर, जहाँ भी चले जाओ वहाँ पे एडवांटेज लेना चाहिए। जैसे यहाँ पे बड़ा वेव नहीं है, छोटा वेव है, छोटे वेव में भी कैसे बोट को हैंडल करना है, कैसे सब करना है, वो सब चीज़ें सीखने के लिए मिलती है।
अभी सेलिंग के लिए सबसे टफेस्ट और सबसे ईजीएस्ट मोमेंट आपके लिए क्या होगा?
इजी मूवमेंट इजी तो कहीं नहीं होता है, टफ ही होता है सर। ठीक है, कोई भी कंडीशन हो, रफ एंड टफ कंपटीशन में टफ ही कंपटीशन रहता है, तो इजी किसी के लिए नहीं है सर।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। So Sharad, first of all, welcome to Goa. And how do you feel being in Goa?
अच्छा लगा, it's nice here. And weather is good. The condition for sailing is quite well. For trainees, it's very good.
Besides Goa और इंडिया में कौन से जगह पे ऐसा इवेंट आपने ऑलरेडी किया हुआ है?
Hyderabad, Chennai, Mumbai, it's our home, and Vizag, Visakhapatnam, Krishnapatnam and all.
With me is the international jury for this ranking tournament. This jury is led by Elliot Levy from Venezuela. So what exactly is the role of the jury in these events?
So the boats are supposed to sail using the wind, the waves, and the current, and anything added to that infringes the rule. To which that's what we are on the water checking that they don't infringe. Other than that, if there's a collision or a problem out in the water, they would come to us and they would explain what happened, and we would decide who's at fault and who's not.
See, in India we have a lot of accidents. I think that everybody knows. And it's even on roads, it's so difficult to judge who's wrong, who's right. Now on the water, when there's wind, there's no road, then how is it that you all actually find out who's at fault, who's not at fault when these collisions and accidents happen?
So we hear their testimonies and we apply the rules that were given to us by the International Sailing Federation, and that's how we determine who's at fault and who's not.
Yeah, but specifics, anything specific you can tell us how that happens? I'm sure it's not as easy as you've made it out to be.
So there are rules of the road, and there's always a boat that has the right of way and a boat that has to give way to the other boat. And depending on what they tell us, we determine who's the boat that has the right of way and who's the boat that has to give way so that they avoid a collision.
Captain, India, this sport is coming up in India. What do you have to say about it? Give us a little bit of feedback from your experience, vast experience.
Well, being with the YI for last 10 years, my experience has been that earlier the sport was restricted to the military, the army and the navy, basically because of the infrastructure and the equipment that they could afford and give it to the people for sailing. But eventually, over the last 5 to 6 years, a lot of civilian clubs are coming up, a lot of children are taking on to sailing. So there's an increase and there's an awareness about this sport as a good activity which can be fought on water. So there is a future. Lots and lots of children are taking on to this sport. And like you have seen here, there are oldies who have been associated with the sailing. They still come back to water. They find an opportunity. They want to get onto the water and enjoy the pleasure that this sport gives.
Sir, this sport is expensive. So in your country, how is the sport? Means how do people actually get into the sport, and how is that the money and how is it funded in your?
In South Africa, primarily, we face a very similar situation. Our currency is very weak, so to get the international class boats is a problem, and in South Africa it tends to be self-funded as far as possible. What is happening is a number of the clubs are buying second-hand, third-hand boats that are being left behind by members and making those available to upcoming sailors to sail.
Sir, in India, it's almost the same thing. Money is a problem always. So how is this funded, this sport, besides the army, leaving the army out?
Yeah, exactly. What is the situation in South Africa? We have similar situation here, and money is always the problem, right? So the funds come from people like Cesar Menezes here, who sponsors events like this, and we all are very grateful to him for having done that. And also now some of the industries are getting into it. Some coastal states are financing it. But yes, financing is the major problem because equipment is very expensive, rupee is very weak, import costs are very high, and worst thing is that the government considers yachting to be a luxury sport. Okay, yacht owned by Ambanis or Birlas, they may be the luxury yacht. But the sailers who are sailing here, these small boats, they are not luxury yacht by any stretch of imagination, you know. They have to work hard to sail, to learn. It's really toil to become a good sailor. And if the equipment is imported at very high import duties, it's a big problem. So I'm sure the government has got to do something about it if it wants the growth of the sport in this country.
ये हमारा इंडक्शन था जिस पे रोटी नहीं बनती थी, सब बर्तन भी नहीं चलते थे और बिजली का बिल भी ज़्यादा।
मैं आपके लिए लेकर आई हूँ एक नया दोस्त। यह है कुकवेल का कुकिंग सिस्टम। ये इस्तेमाल करने में काफ़ी आसान है और वजन में हल्का होने की वजह से आप इसे कहीं पे भी ले जा सकते हो। ये मल्टीपर्पज भी है।
इसमें ऑटो कट है और टेम्परेचर कंट्रोल करने की वजह से बने हुए पदार्थ का प्राकृतिक तत्व नष्ट नहीं होता। इसे 2 से 3 घंटे चलाने के बाद बिजली का बिल आएगा बस 1 यूनिट। इस पर आप किसी भी धातु से बने हुए बर्तन इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। इस पे आप पापड़, ब्रेड, रोटी डायरेक्ट प्लेट पे सेक सकते हो। कुकिंग सिस्टम आपके भोजन के हर प्राकृतिक तत्व को बचा कर देता है पौष्टिक और हेल्दी फूड। ये 100% शॉक प्रूफ है और मजबूत भी।
कुकवेल प्रोडक्ट अपनाने से राणे फैमिली हो गई है हैप्पी फैमिली और हेल्दी फैमिली।
आइजोल फोन करा।
Sir, you come from a place a lot like Goa, lot of sea, beaches, people like the water.
Yeah, it's not as nice as this, but it's a lovely place as well.
Yeah, my issue is that how is it that a country like Spain, how is the sport, how does the sport develop there? Is it private sponsorship, is it company, government, or companies come out, or how does it fund? What is the way this sport is funded in your place?
Money is always a big problem, anywhere. And our luck is that we settled many years ago a system based on yacht clubs. We support the sport of from the very young sailors, and then there's no need to buy top boats. Boats go pass hand to hand, and at the end the yacht clubs and the federation settled a system in which when some sailor, no matter how, if you're immensely rich, it's always better for sailing or for walking in the street. So, but there's a system where when you find a skilled sailor, you will push him or her on top.
So how do
But
you
basically it's families finance the sport. For the very best sailors, they can have private sponsors, and especially the system I told you about, settled through yacht clubs, which are private yacht clubs, and the federation. It's not properly the government. It's another something in between.
how do you identify talented sports persons?
Well, it's like imagine a dancer. You see a boy who dances really nice. Sailing is not dancing, but you can see how he manages, how he performs on the water, how he understands the rules, and then you always support this person to go to a higher level event.
Yeah, ma'am, you are the only lady in this jury. I would like to know, how did you get into this sport? Tell us a little bit of yourself.
So till recently I've been still sailing and competing on a laser class. When I decided to finish my career, I've been given an opportunity to become a judge, first national, then international. And since 3 years I'm traveling around the world to give my service to competitors.
How do you like this place, Goa?
Hospitality of local organizers is great. We are dealing here with competitors representing a high level, and what's most important, they are willing to learn. Goa is great, food is amazing, people are kind. I'm very happy to be here.
You feel this sport has a future in India, in Goa?
Of course, I see a huge potential among young competitors that they are trying to get into Olympic path, and I'm having my fingers crossed for them.
Captain, any last words?
We were talking about the finances and developing the sport in the country. By my experience, I would suggest that one is government. Everybody looks forward to government doing something, but government cannot actually fund each and everything. But what it can do is very well facilitate procedures which help import of equipment. Simple things like reducing a GST on the import of competitive equipment. It's not luxury equipment. It's a competitive equipment. So reduce taxes on that, facilitate import, for help clubs to develop. Another point which was brought out by, as clubs we can develop where facilities can be created and people can utilize it. All those who can afford it or those who can't afford it can also be given some kind of a subsidy. Second important thing, sponsorships we always talk about, but direct sponsorship is always difficult to come because companies look at return. What is the return? But then we have something called CSR happening in this country, which is compulsory. So why not create some kind of a facilitation where the CSR is utilized for development of the talent, development of the sport, which is not getting support from the public otherwise. The third thing which I would like to bring out is sailing as a sport is not just about the competitors. It is going to create a lot of skill development, lot of job creations, because once you say we have to have sailing here, straight from the trainers, which is skill development, and locals can get involved into it because we got such a huge coastline. People are sea-going, people go to sea for fishing, but they just have to learn the nitty-gritties of how to go about sailing. So once you teach them the skill development for local population, the youngsters can get into sailing like what she's already got into judging. Somebody can get into teaching sailing, coaching. So that part, if can be brought into our social network of developing skills locally, we are doing a lot of stress. The government is putting a lot of stress on skill development and programs. So somewhere we have to knit in this development of sports, not just sailing, maybe other sports as well.
Now I have the man, the main man, who has organized this, or the main hand I can say, to organize such a beautiful event of sports in Goa. So first of all, what fascinated you, or what was the idea that motivated you to have such kind of event?
Um, I have been sailing since I was very young. Um, so I was, and then, but I'd always liked that time sailing. So we started actually before liberation, that Mocidad Portuguesa. I was sailing, Escola Náutica they used to call. So I learned sailing that time. Then after liberation, of course, all the boats went and confusion. But much later, I bought a boat from Bombay. And then I used to only a person sailing. And then I gave also to somebody who had come from Africa, known as Erlich Menezes, Derek's father. And he started also sailing and teaching people. So that's how we started. Then when Bandorka's time, in 1973, he gave orders that lots of associations should be formed. He was keen in sports, very keen. So that day they formed something like 20 to 25 associations, including Goa Yachting Association. So that was in 1973. So I was a founder member there.
That's great.
And then from then alone first in beginning and later we built. So I was a president for many years, must be 25, 30 years, till I handed over to younger people.
Sir, but behind this race or this event, what was the reason to have it first in Goa, and why did you choose Hawaiian Beach for this?
What has happened is that first of all, I used to sail at young days. We used to go to Kadakwasala Lake, something sailing. And we had lots of sailors. And then we separated. I got too involved in business, something. So I said, let us revive all the old friends of 30 years, 40 years. And we started calling Masters Regatta. That's how, last year was my 75th birthday. And that's how we started at 75 knots. And we invited all the people whom we were sailing 30 years back. That's why you find lots of, all these people, I knew them 30 years back. So we invited all of them, gathered. So they are come from Bombay, from Hyderabad, from Bangalore, different, Chennai. So that's how it started that. And it was such a success last year that everybody started saying, why not continue? So I said, okay, we'll try another 1 year.
Which is supposed to be a grand success this year as well.
So this year what has happened, Derek, who's a president of Boat Sailing Association of India, he said, why not we do ranking? And why I gave the permission for ranking, on condition, of course, they bring international judges and national judges, because these people will be representing India, and lots of favoritism is there when they push people for. So they wanted independent people to judge them, because this will be used for them. Our seabird is only for fun.
So you're very enthusiastic when it comes to sports. What will be your enthusiastic message for the youngsters in Goa to come and opt such kind of sports and also participate in such kind of events in future?
What I have done now, I bought lots of these big boats, seabirds. I bought lots of them, and I said for younger people now, take up people, youth, to start training, because these big boats are very safe for children or something to take, even including older people. To take is very safe boats. So I said, start teaching people. I said that you undertaken, but I now just now last month we received another 4 boats I bought.
That's nice.
Yeah, so we got lots of. So Goa Yachting has, I got 6 boats and plus Goa Yachting 2. So now we got enough boats
to explore.
Yeah. So this time there are 9 boats in Goa. So we'll slowly build up, for young people. That is our aim. Younger people has to come, not people like us. Younger people has to.
You should be young at heart.
Yeah.
Any sport can be. You can win any sport when you're young at heart.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, I have with me Derek Menezes and Siddharth over here. So Siddharth, you are the main pioneer when it comes to the technical parts of this event. So can you explain to me of this event on the technical part and the technical part on in the sea as well?
Yeah, so what we are organizing here is a national level ranking event, and we usually do a national level ranking event every year, only for board sailing, which is popularly known as windsurfing here. But this year we decided to take it one step further, and we are doing a multi-class national ranking event. So besides windsurfing, we are also including 470 class, which is an Olympic class boat sailed by two people, a team of two people. We are doing the laser youth class, that is a laser 4.7, which is again a dinghy boat which is sailed by one person, and the laser radial. And in the windsurfing class, we have the Techno 293, which is a youth class, and the RSX class, which is the Olympic class. And we have a race boat class, which is an open class, so anybody and everybody can sail in that. Yeah. So, like I said, the ranking event has certain criteria, certain specifications, which are laid down by the Yachting Association of India. So one of them, which you've come to know already, is the jury. The jury has to be an international jury, and we have to have a minimum of 3 international judges from abroad, and at least two national judges. We cannot have more than 2 people from the same nationality in the jury. So this is to ensure that the jury is impartial and fair. Besides that, we have to have a race committee, which is again an authorized race committee. So we have a race committee this time which consists of 5 national race officers from AYN and from INWTC, so from the Army and from the Navy.
Thank you so much. Sir. Thank you. So now I come to the man who has been in sailing and boating for quite long time. So what is the difference that you see when you started off and in the present day?
So sailing and basically yachting has come a long way. When we started, we had much fewer boats in terms of both numbers and class. So guys like myself learned on a boat called an Enterprise class, which is an old British designed boat. The Army and Navy had tons of them, and that's how we guys learned sailing, and that's how a lot of the sailors are here today. Used to sail on Enterprise boats. It used to be an Asian Games class just at the very end of the life of the Enterprise. And we have with us a few sailors in our Masters event who have been world champions in Enterprise class. What's happened today is it has grown into all the Olympic classes. It has been hugely funded by Sports Authority of India, and the equipment is lying in the hands of the Navy, the Army and private clubs. And these classes, Olympic classes, include RSX windsurfing, lasers which are out there today, 470s which are out there today, one of the most technical Olympic classes. Other Olympic classes are catamarans, 49ers, which are not here today, but we've got representation for a few of the Olympic classes here. From the Goa point of view, from the other sailing sites in India like Bombay, Chennai, Goa has the best conditions, very protected bays which are excellent for launching and recovery. So they work great as a sailing site. We have clean waters. We have good fresh breezes over here which come from the sea on a regular basis every afternoon. So Goa is should be one of the prime sailing sites for India, and infrastructure is now what we need. The Goa Yachting Association has in the past developed many champions both in windsurfing and in Optimist class, which is the route of sailing. So we are in a good position. We are making great efforts today. So we are putting in a lot of effort to develop Goa as the prime sailing center in India.
Where do you see the future of sailing in Goa?
The future of sailing obviously lies with the youth. Sailing is both recreational and competitive. As GY, our aim is to develop, broad-base the entire sport. But really for it to take off, if we have many champions, it gives others the lead to come into the sport. And we do a lot of, Siddharth, there's a lot of programs, even with the most senior sailors. We are doing sail training programs throughout the year. Goa Yachting Association is doing. So we have got a lot more people who have started helming, who are capable of handling the boats themselves. And doing this, we help to increase the number of sailing boats and things on the water.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir, and wish you all the very best. Thank you. Thank you.